What's going on, everybody? Long time no see. This is the Melodic Punk, and the wait is finally over. Today, I'm going to go over my entire Legend of Zelda collection. First part of this video is going to be all the Zelda games, and then the second part of the video will be things like figures, amiibo, books, merchandise, all that stuff, you name it. We're going to just go ahead and get things started right away. I'm going to try to go within order of the series and then just talk about the different releases that I have. So, without further ado, right off the bat, we have The Legend of Zelda for the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, the game that started it all. I actually just recently beat this game last year on the Nintendo Switch Online. And yeah, despite it being like almost 35 years old at this point, it is still a really fun game. You definitely need a guide in order to kind of go through this game, or else you're going to be completely lost and not know what to do. But just hearing the classic score, the classic overworld theme. I love the dungeon theme in this game. It's still a really fun game to play to this day. It's a non-linear open world. You can get upgrades along the way. You can find a bunch of different secret passages for upgrades for items and such. I still like the original Legend of Zelda despite it being a little bit old. With that, before the NES version of that game, we got the Nintendo Famicom Legend of Zelda, which you might not be able to see too well because of the brightness in the room. But this is the original first release of Legend of Zelda. As you can see, it was originally on a floppy disk for the Nintendo Famicom disk system. I do have a Famicom. I actually have one of the AV Famicoms that look like the NES top loader, but I do not have the Famicom disk system. So whenever I do decide to import a disk system, I definitely want to go through this. The cool thing about the Famicom disk system games is they have like extra channels for better quality audio, and obviously they have the added functionality of saving your game. Because back on the NES cartridges, this one has a battery backup save, but then other games like Kid Icarus and Metroid, when those came out in America, they had password systems. But these Famicom discs, they hold save data. And then I do not have the cartridge re-release for Legend of Zelda for the original Famicom, because they did go back and put that game on a Famicom cartridge. But I do have the Famicom Mini for Game Boy Advance. It's basically like the NES Classic Series that we had for Game Boy Advance games here, but this is the Japanese version of it. So these were really nice package, by the way. So the back of it showing you what the game is like. Again, lighting is really bright, but keep it as is. Has a manual on it, and then it has a really tiny recreation of the original Famicom cartridge box art. And then, of course, you just open the box right here. Hopefully I don't tear it while I'm opening it. And then right here, here's the Game Boy cartridge for it, which is kind of like on a white and red. Again, focus may not be too crazy because I'm doing everything on camera, but yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll seal this back up real quick. Back for the 35th anniversary of Legend of Zelda, they released this special Nintendo Game & Watch that's based off Zelda. It has Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Link's Awakening. It has Vermin, which is an old Game & Watch game that has a Link from Zelda in it. Then it has a playtime clock and then a playtime timer. I have not opened this up yet just because I have plenty of ways to play these three games, but this is a really cool collector's item, so I just kept it in the box. If I can find them still for cheap, maybe I'll buy a second one to open, but other than that, I'm keeping this one sealed. I actually want to get the Super Mario Brothers one, but pre-ordered this one at GameStop because it's Zelda. We can move on to what is probably considered the black sheep of the Zelda franchise, and that is Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. I have the gold cartridge right here, and then I have the manual along with the sleeve for this. So this game was pretty much a departure from like every other Zelda game. It's more of a 2D side-scrolling platformer. Well, not really platform. It's more of a 2D side-scrolling RPG, action RPG. And I appreciate that they were willing to do something different back in the day, because this was before Zelda exploded in popularity. This game is very, very hard. And then also, like the first game, you do kind of need somewhat of a guide to kind of go through this game to know what you're supposed to do, know where to go, how to level up, and all that stuff. But it's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination, but it is the only home console, I repeat, the only home console Zelda game that I have not beaten, just because I don't want to rely on emulator save states or anything like that. If I'm going to go through this game, I'm going to go through it right. But again, it's not really a Zelda game to me. And I also have the this gray cartridge version of it that just says Adventure of Link. It doesn't have the Zelda 2 moniker on it. I found this at like a local game store, so I picked up that version, which you can find a gray cartridge for the first Legend of Zelda also. They're not exactly rare, it's just you don't really see them that often, so that's why I picked up the gray cartridge of Zelda 2 as well. And then we also have the classic NES series, Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. I remember getting this game back at Christmas one year from my grandmother. And again, this is like the first time I ever played Zelda 2, and I was like, this is a really weird Zelda game. And then quickly did I learn that this game is definitely difficult, so good first impression for Zelda 2. But I don't have my original copy, so I ended up having to rebuy it, but you can still find them for like $20. Not too crazy. And then again, before the American NES releases, we have the Famicom Disk System version of Zelda 2. This one actually says The Legend of Zelda 2. And then it's a Link no Kaboken. I can't remember how it's pronounced in Japanese, but yeah, this is Zelda 2 for the Famicom Disk System. Now, this is a weird release because some of the sprite work is different. A lot of the audio is different in this version of the game, so very unique release. Again, something I also want to check out when I get a Famicom Disk System imported. I don't know when I'm going to do that because, you know, it can get a little bit expensive to import stuff. And then just like Zelda 1 on Game Boy Advance, I also have the Famicom Mini version of Legend of Zelda 2. Now, Legend of Zelda 2 never got a Famicom cartridge release. It was only released for the Disk System. So when you play this on your Game Boy Advance, you actually get the enhancements that the Disk System offered, like the enhanced audio, the changes in sprites, and all that stuff. So really cool release. It's definitely different from this version of Zelda 2 that we got here in North America. So now we move on to one of the best, probably the most renowned game in this franchise. This and another game that we're going to eventually talk about. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. This is still a damn good game to this day. The first time I went through this game was back in high school. I had it through, I played it through the Wii Virtual Console. 100%ed this game. And yeah, it's amazing. The music's amazing. The graphics, even though they're a 16-bit game, like they hold up really, really well to this day. It's a lot of fun to play. I definitely eventually want to go back through A Link to the Past. It's really good. The first time I ever played this game, though, officially was on the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past 4 Swords. Now, this custom game, I got this game box from customgamecases.com. This right here, I have the cartridge in, so I need to get more of these for more of my loose Game Boy games, but yeah. Zelda 4 Swords, I, again, got this from the same grandma on a different Christmas, and the first time I ever played A Link to the Past, they actually have the Ocarina of Time voice of young Link in this game, which can get very annoying with the amount of times you have to go and swing your sword, but that was like the first time I ever picked up Zelda A Link to the Past, and then eventually I went back and played the Super Nintendo version through a Virtual Console, but yeah, if you want to start on the 2D Zelda games, A Link to the Past is the way to go. It's definitely still great to this day. Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. I do not have the deluxe version of it, the Game Boy Color version of that game. I don't have it, but I do have the original Game Boy version of it. This is the one that was on the black and white Game Boy. Really good game, really interesting. Takes you out of Hyrule, puts you on Koholint Island, and the whole main point of the game is you're collecting the instruments to play the Ballad of the Windfish, to wake up the Windfish, and when the Windfish disappears, then the whole island disappears. Spoiler alert if you haven't played the game by now, but it's a really weird Zelda game because there's a lot of references to like the Super Mario series in this game, and honestly, the game is a lot of fun, but it's I don't really have much of a desire to go back to this version of the game. But Link's Awakening on the Switch, I really enjoyed. I did a full playthrough of Link's Awakening when it first came out on Switch. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I still need to finish up my Hero Mode playthrough on this game. The initial playthrough of this game, I've only died like 3 times, and now on the master mode or the hero mode of this game, I literally died like 5 times or something like that. But really good remake. It has the Game Boy Color dungeons as well, so I'm not missing out on that content by any chance. It also has, for this version, it has the chamber dungeons where you can like go and create your own dungeons. It's really nothing special. It's not like Mario Maker cool, but it's a really good game. Most of the portable Zeldas to me aren't really that interesting, but if I had to go back to play one of them again, it would definitely be Link's Awakening. It's a great game. But this next game, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with it, this game is something special. And that is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. To me, this is one of the greatest games of all time. Not just because of its universal critical acclaim from back in the day, but this game, along with Super Mario 64, made me who I am today as a gamer. My grandmother, who was a breast cancer survivor back in the day, after she got her treatment done, she was in the hospital, and eventually she was kind of like bored, so like the family chipped in and got her like a Nintendo 64. She had Super Mario 64, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Banjo-Kazooie, all the classic games for that console. But I distinctly remember her beating Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64 with my own eyes, and she beat Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time with my actual name as the save file, and this game means the world to me. This game, and this is actually her original copy too. It has her name on the back and some dates and all that stuff. I'm not gonna show it, but the reason why I have this is because the save files disappeared on this, so I was trying to get a new save battery and it's still not working. But when the time comes, I really hope that this game will be in my actual possession, because this game, along with Mario 64, those games mean the world to me, and that's why I cherish this game for forever. But that's my grandma's copy of the game. Now, my copy of the game, I got this at a local game store not too long ago. I got a complete in-box copy of Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. One of my favorite games of all time. Having a complete in-box N64 copy of this game just feels amazing. I got a protective sleeve on it. This does have like all the, like the promotional material. It has the manual in here, and of course the copy of the game. This isn't the collector's edition one that's on a gold cartridge, but very proud to have this, to have a complete in-box copy of Ocarina of Time. Again, it's a game that's very important to me. And then at a random like flea market, peddler's mall sort of thing, I found a Japanese copy of Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Now, granted, like you can go on eBay and find a complete in-box copy of the Japanese version of this game for like $40. I ended up paying $25 for the loose cart. But hey, I mean, I didn't have to go through eBay, so cool. We have the 3DS version of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. This is the Nintendo Selects version. This one's actually in my 3DS right now because I'm sort of replaying the game really slowly. And I gotta say, if you have not played Ocarina, this is the version to get, just because the gyro controls feel a lot better. It has all new graphics, which look amazing. They look extremely faithful to the original game art that you saw back in the day. And yeah, definitely one of the better remakes out there. And then another version of Ocarina of Time, which I'll go ahead and cover. I have the GameCube version of Ocarina of Time that comes with Legend of Zelda Master Quest. There's like a whole story about Ura Zelda, the N64 disc drive expansion for Ocarina of Time, and of course eventually ended up being Master Quest. And yeah, there's like a whole like plethora of videos you can check out on Master Quest alone. But this is the GameCube edition of it. It's complete in box. This, I believe, was a pre-order item for those. This is like a pre-order bonus for those that pre-ordered Legend of Zelda Wind Waker back in the day. I have like a lot of these like ripped stickers off. I need to go back and clean all my cases for the game. But yeah, Master Quest I actually have not fully gone through. I've definitely played a little bit of, but I haven't fully beaten Master Quest yet. I definitely need to get on that. But if I'm going to play Master Quest, I might play the 3DS version because they actually mirror the entire game on top of having the more difficult puzzles. So definitely really cool to have that. Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. This is actually the special edition of it that has the reflective cartridge, and then the copy that I bought had an end label on it. This is a game that like I liked messing around with at first, but I didn't know how to like actually beat the game from start to finish until my friend Michael kind of introduced me to what you could do, like such as the Song of Double Time, Song of Inverted Time, and all that stuff. And to be honest, as of right now, if I had to give you like my favorite Zelda game of all time, it would be Majora's Mask. I love Termina. I love the 3-day cycle. I love how there's an immense amount of pressure to do everything. I like that you have to kind of like prioritize each event. Getting all the masks, getting the Fierce Deity's mask to fight Majora at the end of the game. As soon as you get the Fierce Deity mask, you win in this game. Like, that's how awesome it is. I love the darker themes on it. Stone Tower Temple is one of my favorite Zelda dungeons. It's an amazing game. If you have not played through Majora's Mask, or if you have opinions on it, I advise you to replay the game again. It's that good. The 3DS version of Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. This one was like, I remember this being like the most requested game after Ocarina of Time 3D came out. And yeah, it was during a spring break during college. I was playing through this on my 3DS. I 100% completion, got everything in the game, got all the masks. Again, like, my only criticism with this is they kind of changed stuff that didn't really need to be changed. Some of the changes made sense, but going through the boss battle in Stone Tower Temple in this version was really goofy, really silly. But some of the other changes kind of make sense, like finding the stone mask within the the Pirate Slayer in the Great Bay area made sense. But it's not a bad version of Majora's Mask. I would stick with the N64 version, but again, the 3DS version has the better visuals. It has better quality of life things, such as more save options, and then whenever you're like traveling through time, you can actually select what time you want to fast forward to, rather than having to like go on an arbitrary number. But it's a really good version of the game. Again, I like the gyro aiming on this one, so really good version of that game. Next up, we have the Oracle games. We have Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. I remember my brother getting Oracle of Ages a long time ago when we were playing Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. Never actually gone around to doing a full playthrough of this game. Again, it's a game that I played, but I didn't really go and beat. It's on a priority list. But right now, I'm actually currently playing through Oracle of Seasons. It's not in my case. It's actually in my GameCube right now on my Game Boy player. And between the two, I went with Seasons first because I've heard that one's more action-packed when the Ages is more puzzle-based. Seasons is a really good game, but like I'm going through this game kind of slowly. I'm on the 4th dungeon right now. Just trying to find more time to play. I have to be in a mood to kind of play the older handheld Zeldas, but it's been fun. They're not bad games. I definitely want to go through them. Like I'll probably play this game on Game Boy, on the actual Game Boy cartridge, and then when they release Ages for Nintendo Switch Online, I'll probably go through it there, and then eventually kind of like do the cross-code content, and eventually unlock the final boss. But the Oracle games, they're fine. Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition, complete in box. This was kind of like you either had to get like a bundle, like a GameCube bundle, or it was like a pre-order bonus. I can't remember how they released this, but this has Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. Weirdly enough, they don't have Link to the Past on this, which I never understood that. And it actually had a playable demo of Wind Waker. But not a bad copy of the game. Although I heard Majora's Mask, this version of Majora's Mask is a little bit glitchy. So if you're going to play this, try to avoid Majora's Mask on this version of the game. And then next up, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Complete in box. This game just recently had its 20th anniversary, and God, I feel so old because I remember back in the year this came out, I actually picked this game up over the summer and loved it. I love sailing on the seas. I love going to the different islands. I love exploring this game. Like, this game had such a massive world, even though it was covered in water. Such a fun game to explore. The art style holds up really well to this day. I absolutely love Wind Waker. If Majora's Mask is in my top 3, if Majora's Mask is number 1, this might be my number 2 favorite Zelda game. Like, my top 3 Zelda games either goes Majora, Wind Waker, or Ocarina, or Majora, Wind Waker, and Breath of the Wild. But this game is so good. And when the Wii U was coming out, I didn't really have any interest until we started hearing about the future Zelda game that was going to come out and some of the rumors that talked about them breaking the conventions and all that stuff. But then I remember in that Nintendo Direct, they showed screenshots for a HD remaster of Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. So around my birthday at the time, this was around the time they actually dropped the price of the Wii U by $50. I got the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD bundle, and I actually do have the Zelda Wii U gamepad right here. I actually have a separate Wii U gamepad that I use just because I don't want to like have this one get messed up, because it's already like, you can already see there's like a little small dent in the screen. But this, I was really happy about. It comes with the digital copy of Hyrule Historia, and I also ended up picking up my own physical copy of it. It's the Nintendo Selects version, but a lot of quality of life improvements on this one. The Swift Sell that you can get it at the option, fantastic. The fact that they made the Triforce quest in this game so much easier, where you don't have to keep collecting money to decipher charts to then find the Triforce. You only have to decipher 3 charts, and then all the other Triforce pieces are yours by just going to find it. Fantastic remake. Love the Wii U gamepad stuff with this game, how you can quickly switch through your items, have your map, and obviously the gyro aim. Gyro aiming in Zelda is definitely a must, so fantastic version of Wind Waker. I love it to death. Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventures. The problem with the 4 Swords games is you really kind of want friends to play this with you, or else you can go through this game in single player, but I haven't really found the time or the desire to do that yet. And on top of that, going through this game with 4 people, you have to have like 4 Game Boy Advances, 4 link cables, and it's just a lot to get going to get a good co-op experience out of it. But eventually I'm going to go through this single player. The good thing about 4 Swords on the Game Boy Advance, though, is that if you have a DSi or a 3DS, there is actually an anniversary edition of the original 4 Swords game that you can play solo, but unfortunately, during the making of this video, the Nintendo 3DS eShop closed, so sorry you can't get it anymore unless you mod your system. But anyways, next up, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I have both the GameCube version, complete in box, and I have the Wii version. Now, when I first played Twilight Princess, I actually played the Wii version. I got it. The motion controls are really cool. The aiming with the Wii remote's really cool. But I'm going to be totally honest. Twilight Princess, to me, is the most overrated game in the franchise. That's not to say that it's a great game still. Like, it has a fantastic story. I love the characters. The art style is amazing, especially for the time that it came out. But it's just, the game's pacing is so slow, especially at the beginning. Like, I'm replaying the game right now on the Wii U version, and after like the first like 3 dungeons you go through, the game definitely picks up. The game picks up after like the first 3 dungeons, and it's a good game. Like, I'm currently playing through the game right now. I just got through the Temple of Time, and this is probably like my second or third playthrough of Twilight Princess, because I never had a desire to really go back to this game. I'm enjoying it now still. I'm still enjoying it. Like I said, just got done with Temple of Time. But it's just something about replaying through this game, I just don't really have much of a desire to do so. But the Wii U version does kind of cut back on certain things. Like, you don't have to get as many Tears of Light. Obviously, you can switch between a human and wolf form really a lot faster. You have the item management. You have the gyro control. So really good version to have. But obviously, I think in terms of an HD remaster, there's a lot more that they could have done with this. But still replaying through it. I'm not too far from being done, but this is probably like my hottest take. I mean, I guess more people agree with me that Twilight Princess isn't as good as people make it out to be, but it's not a terrible Zelda game by any means. It's definitely far from being terrible. Next up, we have Legend of Zelda Minish Cap. I still need to get a game case for this, but Minish Cap, I remember borrowing from a friend a long time ago. I played through the first dungeon, and I really enjoyed it, but I never owned this as a kid. Thank God I got a cartridge copy now, because this game is going up in price. So I'm planning on going through this game through Nintendo Switch Online, but maybe I'll change my mind and go with this version. Honestly, though, I'll probably just play through Switch Online for convenience. But this and the GameCube version of Twilight Princess are probably my most expensive items in the Zelda collection. Twilight Princess cost me like about $100, and this cost me like $80. So like, yeah, good luck if you're trying to get into getting anything GameCube related, and of course if it's Twilight Princess as well. But Minish Cap, really cool. They got the Kenstone system. Ezlo's a really cool companion. Which, by the way, my favorite Zelda companion is Midna. That's something I forgot to mention with Twilight Princess, but I like how you can roll around in this game, and it's a really good game. I need to find time to go through it. It's one of the main Zelda games I need to go through and beat. Now, I do not like this game at all. Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. I know a lot of people are fans of this game. I do not like this game. Especially, like, I got this game when it came out. I do not like the touchscreen controls. I do not like going back to the Temple of the Ocean King. And yeah, to me, I really couldn't get into it. Like, I think after the second dungeon, I just dropped this game like a bad habit. But it is a complete in-box copy, but I have no desire to play through this game anytime soon. I also have Spirit Tracks. I don't have a complete box copy of Spirit Tracks, but I have Spirit Tracks. The soundtrack to Spirit Tracks is really good, but I'm more so turned off because of my experience with Phantom Hourglass. I don't really have a desire to go through Spirit Tracks either, but one day I am going to play these games. It's just, these are the DS Zelda games I do not like at all. Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I actually have the Golden Wii Remote, which you're going to see in the second half of this video. Complete in-box copy. Now, the first time I picked up Skyward Sword, I actually did buy the collector's edition that included the soundtrack and included the Golden Wii Remote. But like a dummy, I don't know where my soundtrack is, and I got rid of that Golden Wii Remote a long time ago. Luckily, I was able to rebuy it. This and Twilight Princess, you can get relatively cheap if you're buying the Wii versions of the games. I actually really like Skyward Sword. I like this game better than Twilight Princess. That's my big hot take. I like this game more than Twilight Princess. I really like the implementation of the Wii Motion Plus. The story is my favorite Zelda story. It talks about everything that was like before Hyrule, how Link was a knight in this Skyloft Academy. It talks about Zelda and how she wasn't really a princess, but it shows her destiny to become like a reincarnated version of Hylia. And then obviously at the end of the game, there's like a very big like thing that goes on to explain why Link, Zelda, and Ganon are always like fighting each other. I love Girahim. Girahim as a villain is crazy in the story, and I love the cast of characters. I love the Claude Monet art style of this. I love the soundtrack. This is actually a really good game. It's not like it's not my favorite Zelda, but I like this more than Twilight Princess. And also we have Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. I own the Joy-Cons that go to this. You're going to see it in the second part of this video. Really good remaster. A lot of people don't like the fact that this was $60 when the original release was $50. And yeah, I can kind of get that, but you get the option of both motion controls. You also get button-only controls, which, in my opinion, you got to play this game with motion controls. This game runs at 60 frames per second, which is a big, big, big deal to me. This is actually one of the first 3D Zeldas, I think, that run at 60 FPS if you don't talk about the Cemu version of Breath of the Wild. But in my opinion, it's a really good remaster. A lot of people aren't giving this a chance. But yeah, I like that it's at 60 FPS. What I don't like about it is you still have to beat the game in order to unlock hero mode. That sucks. I don't like that, but hey, I actually went through this game 100% on the Switch version. Funny enough, Skyward Sword I played a total of about 3 times. I've beaten it on normal on the Wii. I've beaten it on hero mode 100% on the Wii. And I've actually got it 100% on Switch as well. Next up is another big gun. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, both the Wii version and the Switch version. Obviously, like everybody else, I played Breath of the Wild on Switch. I was fortunate enough to get the Switch day one at launch. And this was like my most hyped game of all time. I've never been more hyped for a video game since Super Smash Bros. Brawl. This was like I remember being in high school, seeing the stuff that was being announced in Nintendo Directs and just being super, super hyped for this game. And right a week before the game came out and before the Switch came out, my grandfather passed away. And I was going through it. But when I got Breath of the Wild and went out into the Great Plateau, like I almost shed a tear, dude. It was it was the escapism that I needed the most. And I love Breath of the Wild. This game has a lot of flaws. Like, it's definitely like not flawless. Like, the main dungeons that you do in this game, complete ass. I do like the shrines of this game. I like how you can customize different pieces of armor. I like how you can pick up almost any weapon. I like that you can cook in this game. The DLC in this game is really good. After beating the DLC, you actually can ride around on a motorcycle. And the Master Mode in this game is actually quite difficult. I'm doing my second playthrough of Breath of the Wild on Master Mode, and yeah, it's pretty challenging, especially when you have the weapons breaking and all that stuff. But Breath of the Wild, it's flawed, but fantastic. Like, this is what the direction I wanted Zelda to go in for a long time. Make it open world, make it non-linear, just like Zelda on NES. Like, and to me, it's fantastic. I'm forgetting the goated game. Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. This right here, hands down, is my favorite 2D Zelda game. I remember when I finally got a 3DS during high school. This is like one of the first games I picked up. I love this game so much. The soundtrack's amazing. The gameplay's amazing. Like, being able to merge into the wall and everything, being able to rent your items. To me, this is better than A Link to the Past. That is my hot take. This game is better than A Link to the Past. It's one of the best games that came out last generation. I love Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. I hope they re-release this game one day on Switch or whatever, but I still have my 3DS, and this is the game I definitely want to go back and replay one day. Absolutely love this game. This is like one of the best 2D Zeldas out there. I forgot to mention this game, and I can't believe I almost forgot to mention this because this is one of the best games in the franchise right here. Next up, we got spinoffs. Link's crossbow training came with the Wii Zapper. Nothing special, mainly just target practice. Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. I played the E3 demo at a Best Buy event that was for Smash Brothers. Me and like two other guys that were wearing Zelda t-shirts in line actually went through and played a dungeon on it. And it's fun as a co-op experience, but if you're playing this game by yourself, don't bother. It's very tedious by yourself. But if you got friends, definitely a fun game. Hyrule Warriors. I do not play Dynasty Warriors, but when I saw this game, I was like, well, I got to pick it up because I like Zelda. And this is definitely like fan service. Like, this game is awesome. The music is awesome. If you like Dynasty Warriors, this is a cool game to check out because it has like the main story mode and then also has a separate adventure mode, which gives you like a lot of stipulations in battle. A lot of weapons, a lot of costumes for each character, a lot of characters from the Zelda series. You can play as Impa, you can play as Sheik, you can play as Agatha from Twilight Princess, I think is a DLC. You can play as Tingle. You can play as Majora's Mask Link. You can play as Toon Link. Obviously, they have original characters like Lana. Next up, this is kind of like more of the pointless ports of the game. This is Hyrule Warriors Legends. Never really played it. Don't really have a reason to. This is has a new Wind Waker related story. It also has a separate story mode for the female version of Link, which is Linkle. And then this is like has like a little fairy mode that you can nurture and bring into battle. It's the 3DS version of the same game. It doesn't run very well either. If you are going to play the original Hyrule Warriors, get the Switch version. This is the definitive version. Comes with all the DLC. Has every single character in the game. Also has exclusive skins such as the Breath of the Wild Link and Breath of the Wild Zelda skins. This is the version you want to get, and it runs at 60 FPS on Switch. Cadence of Hyrule. This is a crossover of Crypt of the Necrodancer and Zelda. You can play as Link, Zelda, or Cadence. And this has some really good remixes to Zelda songs. You can play this on a mode that doesn't require you to go to the rhythm music, but I haven't beaten this game yet, but I have played a little bit of it, and it's really good. Family Jewel 7X actually does some music on this, and he's one of my favorite video game YouTube guitarists, and this is a complete box copy of it. Comes with all the DLCs. So yeah, really cool game. And then we have Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, what I like to call Hyrule Warriors Age of Frame Rate. This game has a lot of content, but God, the performance in this game is terrible. Like, I started on this game very hard, but then once I saw the FPS chug, I just switched it over to easy and just played through it and then never touched it again. Yeah, it's basically, it kind of serves as an alternate storyline for Breath of the Wild. This is like 100 years before Hyrule gets destroyed, but it's honestly the most pointless story to tell in this game. if they actually tied this to the story of Breath of the Wild in terms of ending going into Breath of the Wild, I think it'd be really cool. But to me, it's a side story that really adds nothing to Breath of the Wild at the end of the day. And that is all my Zelda games that I currently have. Again, I'm missing a few editions of some of the games, but otherwise, I have every single Zelda game. I have a way to play, at least one way to play every Zelda game. The only games I do not have are the Philips CDI Zelda games, Link Faces of Evil, Zelda Wand of Gamelon, and Zelda's Adventures. Go on eBay, you'll see why I don't own them. They're ridiculously high in price, and they're terrible games. So that is the first part of the Zelda collection video. And now we're going to go into all the merchandise, memorabilia, etc. Okay, so welcome to the second half of the Zelda collection video. Right now we're just going to go through every single collectible item that I have. Right here is just all the reading material I have. We'll start from right here. We have the official Legend of Zelda encyclopedia from Dark Horse Comics. I actually have two of these. I have this one that's open and another one that's sealed. I don't know why I have two of these. I've read through Hyrule Historia, and I've read through Arts and Artifacts. I've had copies of those. Don't have them as of right now, but I plan on getting new copies of both of those books. This one's really cool. Kind of just shows you, character relations for each characters in the game. It gives you lore and background on everything for each individual game. There's also some, bonus stuff, like Link's appearance in other games that are not Zelda games. So it's a really cool read, especially for those that don't want to go through Wikipedia and just have something physical. Next up, we have Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes strategy guide, which is actually sealed. I got this for $8 at Half Price Books. The Zelda strategy guides, I had one for Breath of the Wild around launch, but this is the only strategy guide I have. This one's sealed because, honestly, I don't really care to go through Triforce Heroes anytime soon. I do want to get the other strategy guides for all the other Zelda games, but that's going to be a costly endeavor if I were to do all that. And then next up, I just got this for Christmas recently. This is the unofficial Legend of Zelda cookbook. This basically has recipes that are inspired from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but it also has a bonus sections that show recipes from other games like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time. So right here you got things like Monster Soup, you got things like Hearty Salmon, words I can't pronounce. You got a gourmet meat curry, just different things from Breath of the Wild and other Zelda games that you can learn how to cook. I've tried the apple recipe on here. It was pretty good. But yeah, really cool stuff. Really cool read through. And then next up we have manga. We have the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask manga. Funny enough, I actually did not know about Zelda having a manga series until I had a friend named Eli in high school who had all of them, and me and the rest of my friends, we just sat around and traded off each manga volume as we were reading through them. The first one I read was Four Swords, and then eventually got to both parts of Ocarina of Time, then Majora's Mask. This copy in particular was gifted to me by my friend Kanan, so really cool. And right here, this whole stack is the complete collection of the Twilight Princess manga. The 11th volume comes out in April, and that's the final volume. I've read through volume 1. I do like how they humanize Link more in these manga adaptations. Twilight Princess I need to read through, especially after I get done with my current playthrough of Twilight Princess. I would like to go through the manga and just kind of compare everything. Next up, inside this chest, it's supposed to have a tone, but the little voice box thing doesn't work. This is the original complete Legend of Zelda manga set. This is the legendary editions of all these books, and if I can get one out just as an example, they're all hardcover. They got the first few pages are in cover, so this one's Oracle of Ages and Seasons. It puts both stories in here, better quality paper, and all of them have a few color pages at the very beginning. So yeah, really cool. My favorite out of the manga set has to be Ocarina of Time, and Four Swords is a really funny read. Four Swords is really funny to read. I like the Minish Cap manga adaptation, but Ocarina of Time's manga was fantastic to go through. I loved it. The Link to the Past one's pretty cool. They have an original character for the Link to the Past manga. But yeah, really cool. If you're a Zelda fan like I am, definitely read the mangas. It's very very interesting to go through and kind of see like new interpretations of Link and all the other characters in the Zelda universe. And my 3DS is in the background just chilling. Next up, we have board games. First off, we have Zelda Yahtzee. I actually just played Yahtzee not too long ago with family. Not this edition. We have a different version of Yahtzee. I chose to keep this one sealed, although I wouldn't mind opening this up and playing it eventually. But got this actually for 20% off at Half Price Books when I first found it out. So $15.99 was the original price, 20% off. Do the math. It was a decent deal. Still got it in the box. Really cool special edition. Legend of Zelda Uno. I think I got this at GameStop. It was like $6.99, but I think I had like Power Up rewards, so I paid a lot less for that. I actually played this a few times, and it has a special rule. I forgot what the special rule is, but anytime we play Uno with friends or family or whatever, we use regular Uno cards, but we did play the Zelda rules one time. Next up is Legend of Zelda Monopoly. I've opened this and only played Monopoly with this set only once, but it's a really cool set. I like it. I'm not going to flip it over because I don't want pieces to fall out. And then sealed in box, we have Legend of Zelda Clue. And this one's kind of cool because instead of in Clue, it's normally about trying to find the killer. This one is who's going to go and fight Ganondorf. Like, who's going to go fight Ganon. Really cool. It's collector's edition. You can play as Link, Impa, Nabooru, Zelda, Rauru, and Darunia, basically all from Ocarina of Time. And then all the weapons that are in here are the Master Sword, Fairy Bow, Megaton Hammer, Boomerang, Hookshot, and the Bombchu. And yeah, this is basically based on the Ocarina of Time iterations of those characters. And then lastly, we have a Majora's Mask collector's puzzle, which I will probably not put together anytime soon, mainly just because I don't really do puzzles like that. But hey, maybe one day I'll bust it out and do it if I'm just really bored. It's a 550-piece puzzle, but yeah, Majora's Mask puzzle, and that's all the board games. Alright, next up, the fun stuff, the figures and plushies and all that stuff. We'll start with Amiibo first. Right here, I have a sealed Link and Loftwing Amiibo from Skyward Sword. A lot of people were complaining about this one because of the price tag. I waited until this thing went down to $10 because obviously they printed a bunch of these, but with the $5 off at GameStop, I only paid $5 for this, so it was definitely a steal. And now it's back up at normal price. Legend of Zelda. This is the Zelda amiibo from Super Smash Brothers. Still have it in the box. And then I have the Link's Awakening amiibo still in the box. Maybe I'll open it if there's some cool unlocks with Tears of the Kingdom. We'll see. And then loose amiibo, we have the Wolf Link amiibo, which unlocks extra stuff in Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And cool thing is if you use this with Breath of the Wild, it gives you a Wolf Link companion for a short time. Next up, we have Toon Link from Smash Brothers, loose. We have the 35th anniversary Link from Ocarina of Time. This one I had to buy loose, and it did kind of cost me a little bit. I actually just recently pre-ordered the Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess reprints that are coming out on May 12th, same day as Tears of the Kingdom, so good thing I'm not overpaying on those. And then the NES Pixel Link from the original Legend of Zelda. I actually bought this at release, so paid retail for it. And then, of course, we have the Ganondorf Smash Amiibo. This one's really cool because if you use this with Twilight Princess HD, it essentially adds double damage. So if you play the game on Hero Mode and then add this Amiibo, you basically have a much harder version of Twilight Princess. Link Perler that I made. Really simple stuff. And then next up is the Wind Waker Ganondorf. I actually got this when my Toys R Us was actually going out of business, and they had a bunch of stuff on clearance, especially Nintendo figures. So I got this right here. I also got a Zelda figure. And then I got a Bokoblin figure. And then somewhere in my house, I have like a Star Fox plush and a Peppy O'Hare figure as well. And then I got a Tingle plush. I just got this one recently from a friend. Really love it. And then I got these two figures right here. These are the Ultra Detail figures. I think these are imports from Japan, but I got it at a store called Box Lunch inside my mall for like $15 a piece. This is the one for Twilight Princess. There's a Majora's Mask one, but I could never find the Majora's Mask one. And A Link Between Worlds. For those that don't know, it's Triforce of the Gods 2 over in Japan, which shows that it's a sequel to Link to the Past. I really like this design of Link, but these are basically all my figures that I have as of right now. And we'll move on to the next one. Oh yeah, one more thing I forgot to add from the figure list. This is the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword Link. This one seems to be a little bit flimsy, so I don't really move this one around too much. They have this one, and they also have a Skirbo figure. I don't have the Skirbo figure, but I remember buying this on sale for like 20 or 40 bucks, whatever. But really nice looking figure. I don't have any like this is like the only high scale figure that I have that I bought for like a decent price. I know some of the ones from First Four, like the Majora's Mask one and some of the Breath of the Wild ones, I eventually would like to get, but I'm not like huge into the figure collecting. But definitely have one of Lincoln. I love the design of it. Hopefully, I can get the other ones one day. And in the other room of the house, you cannot have a Zelda collection without the Hylian Shield and the Master Sword. The Hylian Shield I got as a senior in high school when I was in Gatlinburg, and then I got the Master Sword as a gift from somebody. And yeah, definitely got to have these if you're a Zelda fan. I don't really have a place for these in my room right now, so they're just kind of in storage until I want to bust them out and find a proper place for them. And right here, as you see, we got a bunch of miscellaneous merchandise I wanted to show. First off is the Majora's Mask 3D pin. I believe I got this as a pre-order bonus from GameStop for getting Majora's Mask 3D. Haven't really put it on anything. I don't really wear pins too often, so I just have it in its box. Next up is a Majora's Mask pin that I got at a local game store. Again, don't really use pins that often. Next up is a Zelda watch. I don't even know if the watch works, but I just found it in my closet, so I'd put it on display. Next up is the Zelda Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch headphones. And I remember using these while I was in college, but after college, I don't really have much use for them. Next up is the Twilight Princess HD soundtrack. This came with the collector's edition of the game that came with the Wolf Link amiibo. I haven't opened it or ripped it to a computer or anything like that, so I just still have that sealed. And then I made a separate YouTube video about this. This is the Legend of Zelda game music collection. This is for the 30th anniversary of Legend of Zelda. It covers select music from Zelda on NES all the way up to Triforce Heroes. And yeah, I made a full video on it, unboxing it, and just talking about it. So you can go check that video out after you're done watching this video. Next up are the Technicals. These are stickers for Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. These were a pre-order bonus at Best Buy that they were just handing out. So still haven't opened up and used those. And next up is the Majora's Mask wallet. I believe I had this around middle school and high school, but now I don't use a gaming related wallet anymore, but I still have my old Majora's Mask wallet because it looks really awesome. And then this is my Nintendo Switch carrying case, which is a brown leather Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Switch case. And then right here, a few final items. Right here is a USB Triforce lamp. I think I got this at GameStop a long time ago. It's a little bit dusty. I don't really keep the lights on it or anything. I just keep it on top of my bookshelf. And then this right here is really special. This is a humanities high school project that I did. We had a bunch of different projects in humanities, and one of them was psychedelic art. So I based my psychedelic art off of Majora's Mask. I used different things like color pencil, used a little bit of marker there, and it's something I would like to redo one day. I did actually get a really good grade on it, but I could probably do a lot better. And then, as of recording this video, I've gotten the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch OLED pre-ordered. On top of that, I also have the Tears of the Kingdom Pro Controller and the carrying case. I have not gotten the collector's edition, but I do have the standard copy of the game pre-ordered, as well as the Link Amiibo that comes with it. And then, as I mentioned previously, the Majora's Mask and the Twilight Princess Amiibo reprints I also got on pre-order. And that's pretty much all my Zelda collections. I'll be sure to do periodic updates from time to time when I get more cool stuff for the Zelda collection. But let me know down below, see what you think. And this is Melodic Punk signing out. Thank you all very much for checking the video out.